Thank you for tuning into The Truth with Trinity, and I am your host, Trinity. So, without further ado, I'd like to jump into this episode's topic, which is: Are black males raised to believe that responsibility doesn't matter? I want to first start off by saying that some of these instructions or the things that I'm saying may seem simple, that everyone should know them, but especially within our community, some people did not have the privilege of growing up with parents who either taught them or had the knowledge themselves to be able to inform them of these instructions and this information. Or to the contrary, there may be some brothers or people listening that did grow up in a family that raised them the right way and they chose to go the wrong direction and they need to be rerouted back into the right direction. So it goes for both sides. And I also want to make a small disclaimer that this does not apply to every black man. Okay, this does not apply. Like I said, doesn't apply to every black man. This can apply to black women, different races of men, people of all sorts of walks of life. But for the purposes of this episode, I'm talking to respectfully our black brothers. So let me continue. I wanted to start off by saying that in this world, you will always have a person that does something or may try to create a difficult situation for you. You know, we like to call these type of people haters. You can always find someone out of the bunch that may try to block you or your success. But it is your responsibility to make sure that they have the most difficult time in trying to detain, block, or create difficult situations for you. You must make it very hard for someone to try to stop you. Life itself can be full of hardship, but I'd like to discuss how and why it is important for you to take being responsible seriously. And also, this can go to any beloved parents listening. So if there's any parents listening, you want to get some pointers to pass on to your children, you can listen as well. For starters, in a lot of our urban communities within the home, without any words having to be spoken, a lot of young black male children notice that their mother is the one calling the shots, working and paying the bills, providing the clothes and food, and may perhaps never see his father being inside the home providing these same things that they see their mother providing. Okay, so it's one thing for a mother to work and a father to work. One goes to work, one's at home, and one's at work. But a lot of times, especially nowadays, we're seeing only the mother. Okay, and this sets up a mentality early on that this is the natural order for a woman to supply everything. And as the male child grows older, this can damage his perception about what he is expected to do or what is required of him. Okay, so we notice that, the role reversal, especially in the black home, where, the black male child, the black father's absent, or even worse, if there's another guy in there playing stepfather and he's not working. Okay, so that's even worse. And to see the mother out there providing for everything, for all the males in the home, and then for the female child to grow up seeing her mother, okay, seeing her mother work hard and providing for the children. So this sets her mind up to believe that when she grows older, that she can't depend on a man, that he's not going to be present, that she has to provide all the emotional, financial, all the support in the home. And like I said, for the black male child, the reversal for him to be, submissive to the point in regards to him feeling like he doesn't, have to do what's expected of him, which is to be the leader and the provider. Let me continue. As a young black male, you must understand the critical value of a clean background check and criminal record. Because this is one of the things, one of the attributes of a responsible man. Okay. Number one, you don't want to be placed into their system database with your fingerprint on file. A lot of young black men may not find this important or may not understand that there's a database. You have your birth date, you have your social security number, you have a driver's license or an ID card. But then there's an extra layer of them being able to identify you once you place yourself inside of their database with your fingerprints, because the first thing when you commit a crime or of something like that, they take your fingerprints, so you're already a part of this database where they can track you even more so. So the best thing to do is to never get a criminal record. Number two, you must make sure that others, and I say quote unquote others, have no excuse as to deny you employment, loans for housing, education, or owning your own business. That's one thing, there's always going to be discrimination. There's always going to be someone that doesn't want to hire you or give you an opportunity based off of what you look like. So this is a very real reality, especially for black people in the black community. But what must happen is we must make it to where there's no other excuse but discrimination, that they would have a basis for denying you. So you must be professional. You must be prepared to go into the society and leave some of your urban ways at home. So not to say that you have to deny them, but leave some of them at home, and to number one, make sure that that criminal record is clean, so that when you do yell and file for discrimination, that you have a solid basis and grounds for it. And as we well know, even if you do have a solid basis for it, they'll still try to deny it. But you at least know that this is exactly why they're doing it, because your criminal record's clean. You've went in there well dressed. You've went in there clean shaven, and you're ready to go. Okay? And this is part of being responsible. Number three, once you obtain a criminal record, it becomes easier for law enforcement to profile and harass you easier, because now they can say and have an excuse that you were considered a possible suspect, not only because of the color of your skin, but because of your history. Once again, those fingerprints, you're in their system now. You have a history of committing crimes. So the best thing to do is never have a history, never have one. Number four, having a criminal record disables you from progressing further in life. To be able to legally make a living for yourself or a future family and offspring. And I want to go into how this is irresponsible. A lot of young black brothers, they feel like it's significant because they may be making $10,000 a day, $10,000 an hour. But this is non-productive, because a lot of times you accumulate those records, you're in and out of jail, you're not able to put cars, license, homes, houses, or whatever you have to put it in someone else's name. You have to put it in another woman's name that may have a clean record. So you're placing, once again, your responsibility, you're shifting it onto another person. So that knocks you out of being the male and the leader, because you're supposed to be able to have titles and deeds and houses in your name. Okay, so this is where the role reversal comes in as well, because you have to live your life black market. You have to live your life underneath the radar. Okay, and also what's irresponsible is to commit certain crimes and be in and out of court expecting for someone to bail you out, namely your mother, your girlfriend. You're asking for your girlfriend to raise the children on her own for X amount of years while you do time. This is all irresponsible thinking of the black man. This is not hard. This is not the cool thing that's been taught to the black man. The cool thing is being out of jail to be able to be free enough to raise your children, to watch them grow older, to be able to protect the women in your family, in your community, to be able to raise your sons and set an example in their face every day inside the home, and not some other man doing it while you're out doing hard time. There's nothing manly about giving up your life for a serial number behind bars. There's nothing manly about it. Other races of men don't feel like that's manly to the magnitude that black men do. And it's time for black men to wake up and to realize that they've been taught the wrong thing, and now we're teaching ourselves the wrong thing, because there's no one placing us in jail but ourselves as black people now. At one time we could complain that the overseer and their slave owners, they were capturing us, placing us in behind bars. But now we've become so conditioned that we feel like this is okay, this is cool, this is the cool thing to do. Okay, and it's irresponsible, like I said, to place so much responsibility on other women in the community to raise your child, to bail you out, to deal with the stresses. And it's responsible as a man. What's responsible is to stay out of jail, to be able to critically think how this will affect your children and how it will affect the women and your future sons in the future by remaining free. Because also your freedom is your responsibility. Okay, it's not the white man's responsibility. It's not the Asian man's responsibility. It's nobody else's responsibility but you as an individual. It's your freedom is your responsibility. And how do you stay free? Number one, refuse to embody or imitate the lyrics to rap songs or movies that don't resemble the reality that you want to live. Okay, like those rappers, they're not going to bail you out of jail. Those rappers that are on those stage flashing some of its fake jewelry or whatever, when they're singing those lyrics and stuff, the actor, the director is telling them take one, cut one, scene two, it's over with, have a lemonade break. So this is non-reality, but a lot of our young black men, they're embodying. Okay, so they're not just listening, but they're letting it saturate and overtake their body and their mindset of what they feel like is considered the way to be a man. Okay, and you can't let that happen. You know, you have to refuse to be brainwashed by those lyrics, and if you can't do that, just stop listening to those lyrics. A lot of it's poison anyway, to the young black male, especially if you don't want to live that type of life. You know, if you seen them go to jail, you don't want to go to jail, don't do what it takes to go to jail. You know, you need to be following people that are going in the direction that you want to go into. Number two, refuse to make men and people your role models that engage in criminal activities. And this is a tough one, you know, especially if you come from the hood. I come from the hood. You know, you may have some successful black people in your family, and you may have some people that like to get into trouble and have been in and out of jail, and you know, this and this and that. I come from the same type of family. And this is not about being better than anybody. This is not about feeling like you're better or superior than anybody, but you have to understand, especially as parents, you know, you have to watch who your children consider as role models. And a lot of times when the black male is out of the home, you know, the young black male or any male, regardless of color, tends to look up to the men in his communities that surround him. And you have to be careful of who molds the mind and is a role model to your child. You know, you might love Uncle Pookie, you might love your brother or whoever else, but if they're doing the wrong things in life, and you don't want them to show these things to your son, you know, they can't spend that much time around your child. You know, if they're loading up guns and weighing on scales pounds of crack and cocaine and stuff, if you don't want your child to go into that direction and look up to those type of men, they have to spend less time around those type of males. Number three, don't engage in or have friends that involve themselves in dangerous activities. You know, this can be tough, especially like I said, growing up in the urban communities. So we dealt with older black men that you look up to, but also the peers. And peers are usually people that are around your age. You know, they might look at you as lame. They may look at you as uncool, but let's look at the definition of what truly is the definition of lame. Lame is the inability to walk, move, a handicap, or being unable to produce or provide for oneself. And when you look at lame, who's going to be lame in the next few years if they're going off to prison? They're not able to provide for their family. They're not even able to go to the restroom by themselves. So who's going to be lame in a few years when they're locked up, when they're 6 feet under from engaging in certain activities? You have to ask yourself that as a man. What's considered cool is being able to provide for yourself, having the education, having the skills, being able to have a clean record, to be able to be there for your wife and to be able to be there for your children and watch them grow up and not be away somewhere 10 to 15 years serving time. So we have to be able to, as black people, we have to be able to reverse what is considered cool and what's considered lame. We have to really do some self-evaluation. After all, you are the company you keep. I want to add on something else too, especially the company you keep. What if you're in a car with somebody? What if you're in a car with someone and, this is your friend, but you're not aware that he has crack. You're not aware that he has drugs and illegal substances and things in his car. They get stopped. You didn't even know they were in their car, the drugs, and the cop arrests you for being affiliated. Okay? So this is all about the company you keep. Let me continue. Another critical issue inside of our black communities is that the young black male is not taught or encouraged to focus on his purpose as to living. He is mainly taught that he only exists. And there is a significant difference between the two, between your purpose in life and existing. Your purpose gives you the drive to keep going no matter what. Okay, your purpose is what you were born to do. Okay, it's what you're good at. Okay, better than anything else. And when you exist, you're just breathing. You're just going through the motions in life. You're just waking up and going back to sleep. And you're not really creating any type of legacy for yourself. Okay, and as parents, the young black male child's talents and abilities must be brought to his attention at a young age. The young black male child must be praised and encouraged on his abilities. So if he can do something good, if you notice he can do something very well, if you notice he's great with mathematics, if you notice he loves science, if you notice he loves certain sports, golf or football, if you notice that he's very good at spelling, you need to encourage him and be happy and celebrate him in those categories so that he can perfect those skills as he grows up. He must be given the space and opportunity to develop and focus on those skills so that he is less likely to become sidetracked and fall off into mischief. And I want to also say that, of course, there's always going to be situations where, there's always going to be a percentage. No one's perfect. I'm not perfect. The world's not perfect in a perfect world. But what we want to do is decrease the likelihood and the percentage of so many black males falling off into mischief. So it's not, like I said, it's not going to be that everyone's going to jump on the boat to success, but we want to decrease on how many of our black men want to follow that type of lifestyle into mischief. Okay, number 5, the grown black male has a greater tendency to retreat to the childhood explorer, party and sample, self-actualization, and create a family cycle. So, in life, you're supposed to go through these phases at least once. You are a child once, you explore, which is things that you see, and you do things that you've never done before. So that's the exploration phase. Then you have the party and sample phase. So you're becoming a teenager, a young adult. You want to party. You want to go out there and see the world. You want to sample other things that you've never done. You want to party. You want to sample other women or whatever, And then you have the self-actualization phase where you should figure out what you want and don't want in life. And then that's to create a family cycle. But what we have with the black man, not all black men, but what we have with so many black men is that they keep repeating these phases over and over again like a washer and dryer cycle. Okay, the black man must stop repeating the cycle of having fun in his youth, so the child exploration phase. Then he must stop going toward the sampling and partying phase, then the self-actualization, then creating a family. Okay, because and then the actualizing, that the situation isn't what you expected. Okay, so after he's child exploring, after he's partying, sampling, he chooses a woman, he's making concrete decisions, because when you have children with a woman, the black man hasn't been taught this is not something that you usually can just go back and retreat and renege and go find someone else. That's not what it's set up to do. It's set up for you to set up your legacy and family, and for you to spend your life time and your life force raising those children with that woman. Okay, and so then they're finding out this is not what they expected. Okay, then they're retreating to the childhood exploring phase all over again, never to create anything stable or ever being known as a man of his word. Because the thing is, a lot of our young black men, they have so many four and five sets of families, and they're telling themselves, and the black man's been taught to tell themselves, oh, you're just having babies out here, by this woman. But what you're doing is you're fragmenting yourself and your soul by you have 4 or 5 sets of families out here. You got 4 or 5 women pregnant, 4 or 5 sets of families, and you keep noticing, oh, this isn't what I want. This isn't the woman I want. And you're going back into that childhood phase of exploring again, partying and selecting and sampling other women, finding another woman, and then doing the same thing. And we want our black men to be sure of what they're doing and be a man of his word. So when you're having these children with a woman that you're giving your word that you're going to be around, that you're known for being responsible, for being a noble man and a man of valor. Okay? And I also want to do a recap on this episode. Number 1, young black men must be shown their gifts and talents early and being encouraged to do so. Number 2, the black man must be taught the importance of clean criminal records and why it is considered significant. Number 3, be shown positive role models. Number 4, gain education, proper skills for employment or entrepreneurship. Number 5, Break the cycle of childhood exploring, partying, and sampling, self actualization, creating a family, then having the urge to digress or retreat. I hope this helped a few listeners. If you're listening, I hope this helped you a little bit. I hope this gave you a few pointers and can perhaps help you on your journey. That pretty much concludes this segment. If you have any questions or suggestions, you can contact me at thetruthwithtrinity.com. You can also listen to my podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor. And always remember, if you can't tell the truth with anyone else, you can with Trinity. Till next time, take care.